KREM 2 News begins now.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Tim Pham. This is your KREM 2 News Week in Review. Join us as we take a closer look at some of the biggest stories in the inland Northwest this past week.
Riverfront Park busy with foot traffic as people enjoy the sunshine, but as we get towards the end of the week, we could be seeing even more of it as fans stream to the Spokane Arena. With a change of a graphic, Spokane found out which teams are coming here for the first round of the NCAA basketball tournament. But now that we know who's coming, more work begins, as Spokane Public Facilities District CEO Stephanie Curran knows all too well.
Their fans travel here, they stay in our hotels, they eat in our restaurants.
In the hours since Selection Sunday, hotels have been scrambling to get people booked into rooms. Some of them will also play host for the incoming teams, including the DoubleTree Hotel in downtown. Hotel Director of Sales and Marketing, Matt Jensen, says one of the biggest challenges for them is the last-minute nature of finding out who's playing here.
Because we just found out on Sunday who's coming, and Tuesday a lot of them are arriving. So it's like we have literally one day to turn all this information around, get the team meals ready.
Jensen also says as of Monday afternoon, the DoubleTree had about 25 to 30 rooms still available for Wednesday and Thursday, but expects those to go quickly. In addition, the hotel's also taking care of food for the teams.
You know, these are big boys and they like to eat, so we've got to get the meals and the food ordered and prepared.
Of course, with people coming to the games on Friday and Sunday, traffic and parking could be a challenge. Curran says there are over 2,000 parking spots at the arena, as well as multiple surrounding lots, but she hopes it'll be less of an issue in the future.
We are working with a traffic consultant right now to figure out the best way to manage the traffic when we do have a lot of events here.
Until then, fans will just have to take a little patience with them to the game.
We can't buy this kind of advertising. This is amazing for Spokane. All eyes are on Spokane.
Hosting the first two rounds of March Madness is a slam dunk for the inland Northwest.
We're estimating that about $2.4 million in economic impact for Spokane County.
That's a lot of dough for the local economy. And a lot of dough being tossed at David's Pizza. They'll go through about 500 pounds of dough a day.
A little bit less sleep, a lot more coffee.
You can see Mark Starr's restaurant, David's Pizza, from the arena.
There won't be an empty seat. The streets will be full, the parking lots will be full.
That was the case the last time Spokane hosted the men's tournament in 2016.
Before 11 o'clock, we'd already sold thousands of dollars in beer, food, and liquor. Bloody Marys were off the hook.
Spokane Sports is on the hook for bringing major sporting events like the NCAA Tournament.
The city certainly rolls out the red carpet when we bring the events to town, not only from the media perspective, but from the fan experience, from the athlete experience. I really think that mid-sized market is what's setting us apart.
It's why Spokane is becoming known as a place that can host big events. The Spokane Public Facilities District runs the venues. Stephanie Curran says bringing these events in helps our community flourish.
If you have a city that people want to visit, it's also a city that people want to live in. And if you have a city where people want to live, it's also a great city for people to visit.
Tourism is a big business. It has a $1.4 billion economic impact every year, according to Visit Spokane. And that provides about $1,000 in tax relief to every household in the county.
They are paying a lodging tax. They're paying the sales tax that we all pay. And so that provides relief for all of us who live here.
You couldn't ask for a better location. We really have become part of the neighborhood and really look forward to hosting these events.
Downtown is the literal and figurative heart of Spokane. We are a gathering place, and no downtown is as good as our downtown. And so we're excited to welcome people back in and have that chance to celebrate together again. We've partnered with both private funders as well as Spokane Sports, Visit Spokane, and GSI, the PFD, all to bring people into downtown Spokane. We have brought in a subcontractor who's going to focus specifically on cleaning up the gateways into downtown, looking at picking up litter, abating graffiti, and making sure that those sidewalks and entrances into our downtown is a great, positive, and welcoming experience, because we know when they're in downtown, they're going to have a great opportunity to cheer for their favorite teams. We're extending our security services into the evening hours, so our ambassador lines will be taking calls for escorts all the way to 11:30, and it's a great opportunity. Again, eyes and ears, we're making sure that everyone has a safe, welcoming experience. Spokaneites want their downtown to be a place where they can enjoy it, and we are working very hard with our partners to make sure that is exactly what they can expect.
I started this tournament 30 years ago. It's grown and grown and grown. This year probably, I think we're right at 800 teams. I enjoy it a lot more after everything's set up and I can sit back and go, okay. But yeah, that's kind of how it works, I guess. We have teams from Maui. Matter of fact, we gave 3 teams a free entry because they were from the area where the fire was. We get a lot from Texas. There's some really big clubs there, and they always send a lot of teams here. And most of them come back. Because of the NCAA playoffs, the room availability for their event and our event, there weren't enough rooms at the end, so to speak. So we added a weekend just at the podium for the 3rd weekend so we could still get close to the same number of teams. If someone would build a convention center like the ones that I've worked before in Dallas that hold 160 courts, we could get more teams, but we're pretty much at as far as availability of facilities, yeah, we're pretty much using what we can.
Count 1, is the defendant Daniel C. Howard guilty or not guilty of domestic battery? Guilty. Count 2, is the defendant Daniel C. Howard guilty or not guilty of murder in the 1st degree? Not guilty. Is the defendant Daniel Howard guilty or not guilty of 2nd degree murder? Guilty.
Howard is now back in the Kootenai County Jail. He'll be waiting for his sentencing, which the judge scheduled for May 23rd.
My hopes is that Dan Howard, as a former law enforcement officer, will spend many, 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 many years in a lonely existence in state prison.
That was Sheriff Bob Norris with prosecuting attorney Stanley Mortensen right after the verdict.
The sheriff's office and my office were convinced that this would be the outcome. Otherwise, we wouldn't have charged it.
If you remember, Howard's defense team was arguing Kennedy committed suicide, but the prosecution says Howard staged the crime scene to look like that. The jury today agreeing with the prosecutors with the guilty charge for 2nd degree murder.
We can go into sentencing and ask for up to life in prison. So we are pleased with the outcome.
Mortensen says, though, they have not decided how long they're going to ask the judge to sentence Howard for. They say they're taking everything into consideration, including Howard's arrest this past weekend at the Spokane International Airport and any pre-sentencing investigation documents that come out in the next few months.
There was an immense collaboration and cooperation all across the state to come to this conclusion.
The manhunt for Skylar Meade and Nicholas Umfenauer is over. During a news conference Thursday, the Boise police chief said they were arrested around 2 p.m. in Twin Falls.
There was a short vehicle pursuit, and both suspects were taken into custody separately. There were no shots fired or extensive use of force in this operation.
The men escaped police after Umfenauer shot and injured 2 Idaho Department of Correction officers in the Boise St. Alphonsus ambulance bay early Wednesday morning. IDOC says Meade was taken to the hospital because he harmed himself. While searching for them, a Boise police officer mistakenly shot another IDOC officer.
One of our officers was released from the hospital last evening, while 2 remain in the hospital. They're stable, improving, and I think with today's news, their spirits are lifted.
IDOC says Meade and Umfenauer are members of the white supremacist prison gang Aryan Knights. Both have lengthy criminal histories.
They were both housed at the Idaho Maximum Security Institution, and there was frequent movement in between, but there were times within that time frame where they shared, they were in the same housing unit.
Court documents show Meade was serving 20 years for shooting at a Twin Falls sheriff sergeant during a 2016 high-speed chase. Umfenauer's sentence ended earlier this year. He served time after being convicted in 2019 of grand theft and unlawful possession of a weapon by a convicted felon. Thursday, ISP said they also think the men might be involved in 2 recent homicides in Clearwater and Nez Perce counties.
We did find the shackles at the scene of one of the homicides.
This was a planned event, and we're channeling every resource we have into trying to understand exactly how they went about planning it.
Marte Ellis faces charges for first-degree assault and murder in the second degree. And as it turns out, these are charges he's faced before. On a September day 2 years ago, Tiffany Turner's day turned into a nightmare when a complete stranger, identified as Marte Ellis, attacked her in broad daylight.
Nothing has come back to me. Nothing has jogged any memory or anything. But the doctor did tell me that part of my brain that was injured the most, that took the most impact, was my memory.
On Tuesday afternoon, Turner saw Ellis for the first time in more than 2 years as she sat in a courtroom at the Spokane County Courthouse.
Just emotions are everywhere. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry. I'm just looking for some closure.
Ellis faces charges of first-degree assault and murder in the second degree for the death of a patient he reportedly attacked at Eastern State Hospital in March of 2022. Charges were dismissed after a judge determined Ellis to be incompetent to stand trial. According to court documents, the charges were refiled after Western State Hospital emailed the Spokane County Prosecutor's Office saying Ellis was ready for a less restrictive placement. Turner found out the news Monday.
I didn't ever think that this was ever going to happen.
Ellis's bond has been set for $1.25 million. His next court appearance is set for early next month. At the Spokane County Courthouse, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Council President Betsy Wilkerson said this is not a new problem. It's actually a hole the city's been falling into for years. Now, she says digging ourselves out is likely going to hurt. When it comes to money decisions, Council President Betsy Wilkerson says it's all about information.
Knowledge is power.
Sometimes, she says, Council didn't know enough info.
Some was good information, some was misinformation, some was incomplete information.
Yet, they still had to make a decision.
We're elected, but none of us on councils are CPAs. So we really do need the help. It's $1 billion budget.
$1 billion budget that's now $50 million in the hole.
And with all the other crises, we just had to band-aid that until we got here.
All those patches and decisions aren't necessarily recent.
Over the last 8 years, we've kept everything under like 2.9%.
Then, as we all know, inflation skyrocketed.
We should have been reviewing those and doing some better forecasting of inflation's and true cost of services.
Passed aside, though, we're here now, and the information Council has says this won't be an easy fix.
I think some days our hair is on fire, and we'll just have to put it out and come back to the table.
Some of the options: furloughs for city employees, not giving city workers cost of living adjustments, renegotiating contracts, not hiring open positions, finding new suppliers, and the big one, asking voters to pass a new levy.
We're going to have to share the success and the pain.
So once we get back on track, how do we keep this from happening again?
When we start doing projections, they have to be real projections of inflation and what it's really going to cost to deliver these services.
Making sure the council has correct information before making any future decisions. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Within just 2 hours of Spokane, there are 5 pretty amazing ski resorts. But are those 5 ski resorts enough to call us world class? Today, I'm gonna ski all 5 resorts in an effort to find out. Sun just crested the mountains. It's kind of bright up here at Lookout Pass, but the chairs are spinning and it's time to go.
I think that's crazy. Do you think we can do it?
I think you can do it in a day.
Sunshine! Yeah! Well, that was pretty good. Lookout's known for good snow and a lot of sun, but it's already time to hit the next one. A short drive down the road and a pretty long gondola ride puts us just after 10 a.m. We're at our next destination, Silver Mountain. It's time to go make a couple turns. Snow's already starting to soften up. It's gonna be good skiing. Stop number 3 puts us at Schweitzer Mountain, and it is now 1 p.m., which means we gotta run.
All right, halfway there.
We're down to the wire.
Shout out Carver, my name's Jay Bumpty, what's up?
Things have warmed up quite a bit. It's now 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We've made it to 49 and we have a half hour left to make some good turns, so we gotta go. Four down, 1 to go. We have made it to Mount Spokane, which means it is officially possible to ski all 5 resorts in one day. However, I would not recommend it. Each resort had something great to offer today. Excellent snow, excellent views, and really awesome people. My advice, just pick one and enjoy it for the entire day, but switch it up from time to time because they're all pretty great.
Congratulations, Jeremy.
We typically describe ourselves as punk a lot more often now than we would have in the past. We've been playing music together, the 3 of us, since freshman year of high school. And it took us a long time to really not suck. At the moment we thought to ourselves that we had something really good, and the moment that other people started to think that we had something really good are dramatically different timelines.
I would say like when we wrote 21 Cents, I was pretty stoked. She was a girl with a boy's name. I think that would be like my moment of like, oh, this is like, we could probably do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then only like, you know, there's definitely milestones that further cemented that.
The hardest part of releasing music and being a musician is not necessarily the writing or the work, but it's the willingness to be vulnerable and release something. I'm not making music for everyone. I'm making music for me and the people that I like to be around, and then if that extends larger, then it extends larger.
I think having done this for 8 years now, I've come to realize that if you're gonna do it, don't just do the same thing that everyone else is doing. There's a lot of this advice, you know, blah, blah, do this, do social media, blah, blah, so on. Just be totally unique, be totally creative. Be such a brand new individual that people want to come see you because you're different.
If you could pick one word to describe the band, what would it be?
Fearless. I don't think any of us are scared to play a part or to go for something on stage or to mess up. I think we all kind of are just like so comfortable with each other that we're willing to go for those things.
Wake up, 7 a.m. Our goal is definitely like being a national touring act. I think just being able to support ourselves just by doing the band stuff through touring is like the first goal that we all want to hit, you know, is to be able to quit our jobs and be able to feel safe touring and people wanting that, you know, like playing a venue where we sell out a venue and people are singing along to songs that we produce, you know, that's, yeah, I can't really think much further past that. That's on cloud 9 for me.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories of the past week. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for it at the bottom of the navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.